Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range.
It's got that texture, baby.
Yep, it's real good.
Dude.
I got a new one, but I was scared to wear it because it wasn't stretched in yet. And it feels real tight when it's new.
Got to do some flexing. I still have that muscle tee pick, by the way.
Wait, what?
Okay. Are we ready, Joey?
Yeah, I'm good, but I'm going to be running in and out. In and out.
Like In and Out Burger?
So I got to go get King.
Listen, don't let the mic sit too close to the keypad
The clicker.
or
Wait,
clicker.
listen to this. Ready?
Go. Yeah, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, sweet.
You're a punish. Just kidding. I love you. All right, let's get started, Marlon. All right, so this is for Clementine and Otis. So if you're loving the podcast, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or whatever platform you like to listen on, and leave a review. It just helps me to keep going and producing weekly episodes. Also, subscribe on the THT YouTube channel. I've got some carefully selected, fully filmed and edited episodes by legendary skateboarding photographer Ryan Grant. First up, a shout out to our sponsors, Indosol. Yep, look, I say this every week, like recycled motor vehicle tires, and they're turned into footwear by Indosol. But moreover, Indosol are like leaders in the environmentally friendly and conscious fashion industry. Indosol have distributors worldwide, so go to indosol.com, that's INDOSOLE.com, and use code THT for a discount. Get your pair and join the movement, and that code is worldwide. Next up, Kingpin Skateshop. Kingpin stock carefully selected shoes, clothing brands, skate decks, and hardware. For those of you that follow the THT podcast on Instagram, you'll know that Kingpin are giving away a $140 gift voucher via their online store, which is kingpinstore.com. That's KINGPINSTORE.com. And all you have to do is use the THT discount code at checkout, and then you'll automatically go into the draw. Entries close this coming Wednesday, the 21st of August. So get on it and, support the show. Lastly, Crush Organics. Now, CBD products are officially legal in Australia. You hear that, Joey? They're legal in Australia. And so go and do the research yourself, Joey. CBD is an amazing natural supplement. I use it most days, and it's improved my health and mentally. I'm surfing and skating better. I'm recovering from workouts quicker, and I'm sleeping like a baby. And there's also been a real noticeable improvement in my focus and concentration. Crush Organics literally produce the highest quality full spectrum CBD oils. So head over to crushorganics.com and use code THT at checkout for an epic 40% discount. Fast shipping worldwide. Marlon, are you ready to roll?
I'm ready, mate.
Dude, I can't talk in the morning. I don't know how this podcast is going to go. Okay, I can't.
We sound all husky and sexy. And
Oh, thanks, man. Real rough.
Yeah, exactly,
Dude,
exactly.
You're scaring me. Here we go. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks.
Good to be here, man. Whoa. Dude, I'm Mr. Donut lifestyle.
3, 2, 1. All right, let's do this. Today's guest is Marlon Roche.
Good morning. How are we?
Did I get your name right? I did, didn't I?
I was on the dot. That's
Marlon
pronounced.
Roche. That's such an epic name.
right.
Marlon is a graduate of the National Art School in Sydney, Australia. He's a pure skateboarder, but you're a bit of a tech wizard, aren't you?
In the regards of skateboarding?
I think so.
Yeah.
And he's an all-round... in the regards of skateboarding, okay. Sorry. Thanks for clarifying. An all-round epic human to be around, I reckon. Always smiling. Marlon's positive energy is infectious, and today he's with me live from Kingpin Skateshop Warehouse to share his journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Marlon Roche, Welcome.
Thank you.
Dude, and a big shout out to past guest and special guest co-host this week, Mr. Joey Lyons.
Yo, you're going to have to start paying me soon.
Dude, paying you what, man?
10 push-ups.
Dude, I'll pay you an advice for life advice. All right. Anyway, how are you, Marlon? Talk to me, bro. Like,
I'm very well.
What's
man. We're here nice and early in the morning. It's a bit fresh in the warehouse at our secret location, but it's good. I'm starting to warm up.
Joe, you want the heater on?
On the brews. Yeah, we got that deluxe heating.
Yeah.
Potentially compliments of Pete Dalma.
Nice.
Good. So, yeah, it's a huge crew. Huge crew.
So, man, listen. Firstly, I'll just start by saying, like, I love your art. I want to talk about that. It's just, it speaks to me. You know how, like, why does art speak to people? Why does music speak to people? Why does certain styles of skateboarding speak to people? We don't know, but yours speaks to me. So my question to you is, like, why art for you? Why did you pick it originally?
Art was a really interesting thing for me. It was always something that I engaged with when I was younger, but didn't necessarily consider a solid pathway. And so once, I think it was about year 10 in high school, I had a teacher, Mr. Hewitt.
Yep.
And he was great. I think he's from the Wollongong region. But yeah, he was definitely a bit of a driving force for my kind of art practice and getting it to take off. I think that I didn't really consider much after high school. I was always skating and surfing and hanging out with my friends and, taking life easy, doing the dishes for mum and dad and, just the old school stuff. But yeah, I think once I started to get towards the end of year 12, I'd always chilled out pretty hard in the regards of, like how hard I was working at school and my, like trying to get essays done and study for exams. And, I was always pretty laid back and would just get enough done. And it wasn't till towards the end of high school that I found a bit of a drive within art making. I don't know where that energy came from, but I guess, it's hard to articulate maybe like why, you like listening to certain songs or kinds of skating. But I found that it was just generally helpful for my being. Like I found that making art was just a really fun thing to do.
Yeah, keep going.
But yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing. No, I'm laughing because every podcast, like, there's a bit of mic technique issue. Just maybe speak a bit closer to that bad boy. Yeah. So keep going.
But yeah, so I think once year 12 finished up and we'd done all the HSC exams, it was time to finish. It was time to start uni, and obviously I had no idea what I wanted to do, and it was my art teacher that suggested going to the National Art School, and I applied for that. Not necessarily knowing that it was a bachelor degree. My understanding of art school was you just went there to get good at making art. I found a few different avenues as I kind of progressed through the National Art School, doing the undergrad and then moving into the postgrad. I finished my undergrad in 2016 and I was mainly doing printmaking then. And then as I went over to the masters, I focused on solely the drawing aspect of the art making, which kind of, when I started doing the postgrad, it really galvanized my practice into a more kind of like streamlined way of making, say like the process that you might be familiar with, which is those watercolor portrait stencils. And so that was a process that just came out from spending so much time at art school. But I really struggled. There was a lot of challenges at art school, like particularly the theoretical work, because like I said, in high school, I didn't necessarily engage very deeply, with like English, geography, mathematics, history, and those kinds of things. So when it came time to do postgraduate level writing, I really struggled. So I was doing lots of extracurricular, like, writing lessons with the guys at the National Art School Library after school and stuff. So they had like amazing resources and they could see that I was keen to try and learn. So I found that was a really big challenge, but having a studio space at an art school and being surrounded by other people making art really seems to set off something deep inside. It just makes you hungry, and also getting to go down to the pub and have a few beers after school. It's just a nice scene to be in. I think it's very stimulating for all sorts of art making.
Like, to be in the presence of other artists was inspiring?
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone bounces off each other, kind of similar to the skate world. If people start throwing down bangers at the skate park, someone's going to be like, "Oh, I can do a cool trick."
Good energy.
Yeah, that's it.
Good energy, yeah. My question to you is, though, it's an art school, so it's an institution. Do you feel like to some degree it institutionalized your creativity?
Yes, absolutely. And so I found myself considering...
So how do you combat that?
Well, so I think it's a thing, say like, I'd always get really funny with my decision making. Like I'd always second guess what I would do in all walks of life. I'd be like, oh, I wish I did that. I should have done that. But something that I found was that, when you're kind of doing such like a kind of automatic or natural thing or way of making, like doing a painting or a drawing or making a sculpture and or whatnot, I think that you seem to find... I'm losing my train of thought. Give me 2 seconds.
It's all right. So
That's what
Shannon put in your coffee, that's why.
Yeah, the CBD, man. Some strong stuff, bro. That's fantastic. So where were we?
Joey,
What?
nothing. You're not getting any.
Cut me out.
It's not no regret having Joey as a co-host today.
Just edit me out if you want.
I can't edit you out now. No, just kidding. So I guess my question, to get you back on track a little bit, was I see art as a creative expression of what's inside you. Would you say that? Would you agree? Then I always found art school interesting because are they actually indirectly or directly getting you to prescribe to certain methods and techniques?
Yes.
And how is that influencing your creativity, or is it stifling your creativity, or is it like redirecting you in a way that's not you?
Yes, that's right.
I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because some people may be affected by that. What I found was you have to engage with formalities. There's certain criteria that you have to meet to say get like a really good mark on like a body of work that you've done for people to judge and then give you a mark, and then also your writing, which can be very much subjective. There are certain like key points that you can focus on that may be relevant to like a contemporary field of research or a way of making art that is relevant in an institution, and so you can connect with that maybe. But I feel like I'm only 26 now, and I think something really special about art making is being able to like communicate a message. I think that I kind of dodged the kind of institutionalized stifling of art making because I didn't ever know, and I still don't really know why I make art. I know that I really like paint and I like drawing and I like using those things and creating something because that makes me feel really good. But there was definitely a moment there towards the end of like my 5 years at NAS where I started being like, oh, I'm making this work for the postgrad show to sell this work. Like, I think that if you can produce a body of work and get it up on the walls for people to look at, anything else is just a bonus. So if you make sales, like that's sick, but it's not necessarily what it's about. Obviously, artists who make a living will take that into consideration. They may change their work, and that can come maybe from the institution. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's just about what you want. And since I don't really know what I wanted to get out of my art, I feel like I've kind of sat in this positive limbo of not being, like learning all of these skills that you get from an institution, but not being too caught up in that. It's easy to overthink what you're doing. And
Marlon meditation.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And that kind of comes back to what I was saying before when I got confused is that, like you're always going to be like, oh, I wish I did that. Like I should have done that. And the best thing about art making is that you can just keep going. You can keep trying again until you're happy with what you've done. And that's always going to change as well. It
seems like the artist's conundrum of like, if you set goals for your art, then your art's not as good. It just really feels like it needs to be happening organically and inspired. I had a past guest on, James McMillan, who's an artist also and surfer.
Great artist.
And he sold an artwork and he's like, oh, wow, like that's enough money for me to survive and pay the rent and buy food for a fortnight.
Yeah.
Like I just have to keep doing that, you know? And then next thing you know, like making art became a job. And he was like, one, not enjoying the process and then two, actually not actually liking the work he was producing.
Yes, okay.
So then he had to like strip that back and it's like, it's tough.
And it can be really hard as well once you, it's like, you know, I don't know, you learn how to do certain things like, and there are kind of rules as well. Like, you know, sometimes you might want to drive on the right-hand side of the road, but you can't, you know, like it's a funny thing of like, how do you engage with those, how do you get what you want and get to where you need to go, but still by following the same path that, you know, other people have, I guess.
That's good, man. So how would you describe your particular style of art? I mean, I'm not in the art world, and I love looking at your work. Would you describe it as like, is it abstract? Surrealism?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you describe it?
Well, what I've found, it was really interesting because I've always been really interested in watercolors, and the watercolors that I use, they're actually they're by a brand called Daniel Smith from San Francisco in America, and the Daniel Smith watercolors are actually purely made out of semi-precious gemstones. But it's funny because, like, you know, like some of the like juggernauts of the watercolor world, like Winsor & Newton or Schmincke, Sennelier and whatnot, they're actually, those products are a bit more expensive than the Daniel Smith ones. Anyway, I was just intrigued by, you know, this gemstone quality of the watercolor. I've always been really interested in the actual materiality of the products, and I think it was really all about an investigation of process and of materials. But since, like I said before, starting at NAS doing printmaking and then moving into drawing, the art that I do, it comes from, like we were talking about, you know, like I might try to do a self-portrait. When I'm doing that, I'll look for, you know, proportional elements like likeness, you know, finding that kind of character or that maybe essence that a lot of people like to talk about. You know, I'll try to generate that in a pencil drawing, and then from, you know, my interest in the process of art, I'll cut that drawing out to create a stencil. I've actually found a process where I can get wooden boards, and then I can get what's called a watercolor ground. Essentially, it's like a plaster-based gesso or surface primer that I can then do a series of different stencils on using a combination of gouaches, which is...
What's a gouache for those that don't know?
Gouache is watercolor with chalk powder, so it just goes opaque, where the watercolor is really transparent.
So sick.
It's really fun.
You're educating me.
You're an art nerd.
It's crazy, man. I'm a full art nerd. Hey, I actually love it. But
yeah, it's amazing.
It's such a funny thing because, like, it's just another language. And I remember I'd go to art openings, right? And like people would be talking, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, like they sound so intelligent, and you know, they have such a prowess about them. And then I, you know, spent more time at art school and, you know, learned a lot of big words and whatnot. And then I'd go to these openings and see these people, and I'd realize that these words don't make any sense, and that's not a sentence. And, you know, no one really, like, people are just trying to fit in, if that makes sense, which I do as well, of course. I think it's a very normal thing. But yeah, the art making, back to the art making, that, like, in the sense of looking at it as an abstraction, I wanted to take something that was real, chop it apart, put it into this process and see what would come forth from that. There was a lot of things that inspired, like, the genesis of the work. There was certain things that, there was a lot of chance, a lot of accidents. There was a lot of kind of random artists that met in this very rhizomatic way, say, you know, like a cave painting from South Africa and, you know, a watercolor. I think I'll butcher the name. I think it's Perio Lunier by Paul Klee. I think it's like 1940 something, but it's a watercolor that is made from a series of stencils and sprayed watercolors, and that kind of piqued my dichotomy between the two different subjects and trying to marry this, you know, fusion of time and process. And it was like, but again, coming back to before, what I was saying about not really knowing what I do, I feel like my art, in a positive way, is in a very juvenile area. I feel like I've caught, you know, this really rare Pokemon, and I've just got to work with it and train it up and let it evolve into something really, really interesting. I think styles come naturally, but they need to be coaxed out. They need to be refined.
So you think you're in the juvenile phase of your art journey?
Yeah, because this is a process that I discovered in, say, like 2018.
See, it doesn't come across like that to me personally. Again, I don't know what I'm looking at, but it doesn't look like I'm looking at a Year 12 major artwork.
It's got good Steve.
That looks juvenile. A Year 12 major artwork, even when they're really good, it's really interesting. You can still look at it and go, oh yeah, well, that's a really good Year 12 major artwork.
That's true.
But with your stuff, I just go, oh, it's kind of next level. Yeah, I actually posted some of your stuff this morning.
Thank you, man. You like that one of Meg?
What is it,
My
Meg?
beautiful girlfriend Megan.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I mean,
they come out in a very
it's abstract, but maybe educate me and other people who don't know. What does the term surrealism refer to?
So surrealism.
So it's not surrealist, your work?
Well, I think you could definitely put it into that category. The surrealists or surrealist artwork can be kind of put into, say, like the surrealists. I believe they were kind of like a movement or a group of people. There was the Surrealist Manifesto that kind of discussed, I think, their interests and their drives and whatnot. But it was a style of art making, particularly when everything was extremely refined. Like the images that were generated were, say, similar to the things of like European canon, High Renaissance, and things like that. And I think that.
Stumped you?
Yeah, a little bit stumped.
It's okay.
Wait, just tell me when you started skateboarding. Come on. Where's the skateboard talk over here?
We're going to get to that very, very soon.
Yeah,
soon.
Joey, can you stop shoving the microphone straight down your throat?
You want it.
You're blowing our ears out.
Joey
asked for it over here.
No, it's great. I'm going to get to the skateboarding stuff for sure, but yeah, the surreal. Yeah, I've always struggled personally with what the term surrealism means and is. But it sounds like this is the kind of stuff you learn at art school, right?
Totally.
And like the history of art and would you say that you've got a better insight into the significance of the influence of art on culture?
Yes.
And society and society and how it's influenced even our politics over the years.
These are things that I never really...
People don't think about that.
Absolutely. And now that it's funny, like I became a bit older and I was like, in retrospect, like I wish I, looked at things like geography, politics, history, mathematics, these things that are, very like important and you don't naturally look into them. But it's funny, like you get older and you kind of just have a bit of maybe a hunger for wisdom or knowledge or whatever it may be. You just find these things that are really interesting.
So because I think skateboarding is so art driven. I mean, fundamentally, there's graphics on a skateboard and like people, you love the graphic on a skateboard, and it's like, well, why do we love those graphics on a skateboard? People don't really think about what they love about it.
It's an interesting thing.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Because you really connect with brands and with skaters. Like if there's a brand that I really like, and one of their team riders skates in a way that I seem to connect with, like I find myself naturally gravitating to their brand. Seeing what they do, keeping on like tabs on when they're releasing new skate videos, checking out the new content, and I mean you see this incredibly vast range of different styles of skateboarding and how people engage with skateboarding. And there's like the super gnarly dudes who jump down 15 stairs and just have the most serious pop and commitment, and then there's the Slappy and Wally crew, like everyone just busting out some serious slappies and doing wall rides for days. And
I'm part of the Granty Slappy crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's a gentleman's sport. Slappies, we've decided.
And lots of clapping as
There's
well.
There's lots of clapping when people slappy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, keep going.
But yeah, it's really. But even then, like you can still kind of engage with a spectrum of it if you choose, and it's the same with art making as well. Like it's like I've just always found so many parallels between skateboarding and the art world. It's really interesting. And even the actual professional side of it, say how you might engage with like sponsors or gallery owners and whatnot. It's a really interesting thing. And but it's also funny how, coming back to saying like, if you're at a skate spot and people start throwing down hammers, like everyone's doing crazy tricks, and then, like some other people respond to that. They're like, oh, that's a pretty crazy trick. I've also got a crazy trick. Like, I'm going to display some stuff right now. Like I was,
you are displaying stuff.
And it's really interesting where that energy comes from, and it makes you really hungry. And it's the same with art. Like, I'll see one of my friends post an artwork and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's incredible. Like I've got to step it up too. Like,
art is infinite.
That's exactly right. But that's the best thing. So with skating, I get a little bit bummed out sometimes because I'm like, damn, my body can't take this forever. Like,
you can.
I
can.
Maybe with the CBD and some stretching and yoga.
Just skate gutters.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I used to think that, like, you can't do this forever, but I'm 44 now, and skateboarding's changed for me. I love it more than ever. Like, it's different now. It's like, I don't know, like it's just the next chapter of skateboarding. Like Joey just sort of alluded to, like, I'm not trying to do the stuff that you're doing, obviously, but I'm really enjoying, a slappy on a curb or
they're blunt fakes,
or even just rolling around. And I heard an awesome interview with Jamie Thomas once, and someone said, like, "Oh, am I too old to skate?" And he's like, "Just roll around on your board and see what your body manifests."
Yeah,
and that was one of my questions to you, Marlon. Is like, and I think you've already answered it, but I'll ask it anyway. Like, is skateboarding an art or a sport?
That's another excellent question.
Thank you, sir.
I think that I think it's really hard to distinguish between the two. I think there's times where, where say like I think it was Dave Baczynski's kickflip down El Toro. I'm watching this dude try, like, jumping down something that just doesn't really seem like humanly possible, and his head is just like detonating on the ground on every bale, and he's just walking back up the stairs, and he he eventually gets it and rolls away down this incredibly infamous set of stairs that I don't think skatable anymore.
For those that don't know, that's a 20 stairs.
Yeah,
but it's a big step, or bigger steps. It's wider,
yeah. And it's been just like the kind of the jaws of the skate world for a really long time. There's also the Davis gap that, like, Chris Joslin tray flipped and Reynolds kick flipped in Stay Gold. And
Reynolds kick flipped it first.
Yeah.
Oh, you just said that, didn't you?
Yeah. And then I think someone back 180 did it as well from Foundation.
Really?
But I remember seeing some Foundation vid.
Corey Duffel. I think Corey Duffel frontside 180 did it, didn't he?
And then I think someone else back 180 did it. But that kind of skating, it definitely has an artistic quality to it, but just like the grandeur of it is so serious and it's so critical. Like if you make a mistake, you get really, really broke off. But then you see people just flowing around a bowl, and sometimes it has the same kind of satisfaction. You watch this person just use no energy and just generate so much speed, and the actual
self-expression.
flow. That's exactly right. So you have this gauge between the dudes who are say producing like 10-foot bronze sculptures, and having them in, the most serious, establishments in the world. And, that there's like this really gnarly side of art making. And then there's this side where it's just really playful. And, sometimes you don't even realize what you're doing. And there's been times where I'm skating and I'll land a trick that I've always wanted to land, but I'll get it extremely quickly. And in a weird way, you just don't even think about it. It just naturally flows out of you. And it's a really exciting thing when you roll away. You're like, oh my goodness, like, did I just do that trick? And it's the same thing with making art. Sometimes you make it work and you're like, oh damn, like, did I do that? Like, that looks pretty good. Like, and it's a nice thing when you can find that like, I guess, like positive affirmation in yourself, like it's a hard thing to find sometimes. It's not easy to be like, I am like proud of myself. Like, that is a good thing that I've done. I think people naturally are going to, shuffle what they do to the side. It's
performance art, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like what you said before about, like, when you're in a session with some other people and everyone's feeding off each other, and people bring a vibe. And like, I noticed that about you when you turn up to a skate spot. You just bring this vibe and it's like it just radiates, and it just, like, everyone else starts getting hyped, and it's just the best, and that's what I just love about skateboarding is like these personalities and characters that emerge from the beauty and the difficulty of skateboarding. You
Marlon
know?
skates outside the box.
Yeah.
Also skate outside the shop as well. We got a new slappy spot.
Oh, how good is that? Skate outside.
But it's funny. Like I remember when I was, and this is something similar that happened in the art world. You know, when I remember being super young and say catching the train up to Waterloo and just sitting down the whole time because I was too intimidated to skate because all the older boys were just shredding, you know, going so fast and doing the most amazing tricks. And I was just learning, you know, this is like a decade ago. I didn't feel confident to go out and try and, you know, express myself and do what I wanted to do. But as time went on, I realized that, you know, those older guys, they, you know, never really took note of you. Like, you know, they're just doing their thing, and you know they've been in the game for a while. And as time went on, you know, I didn't feel nervous at the skate park anymore. In fact, I felt very comfortable, and it was a really similar thing with the art world. I remember when I started out at art school, I, you know, felt so nervous. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to, you know, like seem silly. Like, you know, I wanted to seem like I knew what I was doing. But yeah, and it's kind of similar with skating as well. And you can kind of, you know, front up and whatnot and like create like a bit of an image around yourself or whatnot. And particularly with say like social media, it's very easy to project a certain like persona or personality, particularly if people don't know you very well, you know, IRL, you know, off the screen in real life. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not down with the acronyms. I've never heard that acronym. I only know WTF. That's all I know.
That's a good one.
I spend most of my life
and
saying
SSBSTS.
Got the live version of SSBSTS.
Yeah. I love a good SSBS.
TS. Switch stance backside.
Tailslide.
Anything switch stance backside.
Yeah, you've definitely got your backside tailslide game down.
Thank you, bro.
And like I loved again like. What I love about skateboarding is watching the process. So, you know, when Thrasher put up those clips of My War,
yes,
or they put up rough cuts, and it shows like, you know, all the, you know, the effort that went into that trick. You know, often you watch these skate vids and they just show all the makes, but you don't know that person went back to that spot 4 times over the course of 3 months.
Yeah, don't know the context.
And spent hours at a time.
Yeah. And if the crew's getting a bit bummed out because they want to go to a different spot, and then there's all these different anxieties that fill in
by security, and you know, like, and I love that. And like just the other day on even a small level, when I was filming you do that backside tailslide kickflip out on that ledge. And I just love watching your process because I genuinely felt, even though you were battling it, you know, and you weren't battling it, you didn't battle it too long, but you were battling it. But I could tell you were just enjoying the battle. You know, you weren't getting bummed out. Like me, for example, I'm battling something, you know, I get to a stage where I'll start throwing my board around, I'll start like screaming.
Yeah, I used to get so upset.
You know,
He did it when I left. That's what he did.
Yeah. Joey was keen to see us make that, but yeah, and literally like the second that Joey left the skate spot, you made it.
Everyone turned around. No one had even left. Yeah. Everyone was still there.
I'm so glad you filmed it.
That's right. Yeah. It's footage or fiction, baby. So.
Yeah. So I love that you enjoy the process, because effectively I think that's the beauty of skateboarding is when you feel like you can't go on, but you go on, and then you make it.
But
and
that's also a lesson in
thank
itself
you,
as well.
sir.
Like totally, right? Like
it's been my biggest life lesson. That's what skateboarding's taught me. Is like you fall down, you just get back up again.
Yeah, and you just try not to make too much of a deal. Sometimes it can make you really emotional. Like I remember trying to learn a kickflip back 50 grind when I was super young, and I swear it almost brought me to tears because I was just so frustrated. Like, but you do get this enormous spectrum of emotions when you're out skating with your friends. Like there are some incredible highs, and there can be some like pretty gnarly lows. Particularly, I remember one time I was skating in Blacktown. We were filming for Dog Box or Crate Digger. I can't remember. I was with Jared Rees and Ben Laxton, a few other dudes out in Blacktown. And I blew my ankle out to the point where, like, I'd rolled it, but the skin had split from it rolling so hard. And then there was this insane hailstorm, and we were stuck in, and like this factory collapsed, and the streets were flooding. It was pretty ridiculous and apocalyptic for a moment there. But we were stuck, like I was like stuck with this weird bleeding, like mulched ankle in a van in Blacktown, like while it was like hailing golf balls for like 3 or 4 hours.
Man.
That was pretty ruthless. But then there's times where like you know, me and Jared went down to Canberra one time, and we got so many clips, and I think at the end of the day we went to that Belcon and triple set, and I think I got a back biggie down it real quick, but put a
Big
crack.
spin.
Yeah, and then I put a crack through the middle of the board, and Jared was hyping me up to try the big flip, and we ended up getting the big flip down the triple set, which was sick. And
Ridiculous.
And then on the way home, it was 1 a.m. or something, and we were on the highway, and I was like, I saw something on the road, and I looked at my speed, and we were going 110. I had it on cruise control, and I was like, oh my God, I thought it was a wombat, and I was like, I can't swerve, I just got to clip it. And it was just a big stick on the road, and it tore all the tire open, and we had to change the tire super late at night. We were like, are we even getting home? But so there's always little adventures with skating, and even just going up to the city, I remember we'd get the train up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go skate at Waterloo Skate Park. But I actually remember I was halfway through answering one of your questions before about,
It's fine.
I can't remember exactly what it was about.
Sounds like there's some bad juju that day.
There can be bad juju sometimes. It's weird, man. And I think, and again, talking about before, the energy that you supply for everyone, it's really easy to let negative energy slip in when you're trying to do a trick, So
Would you say you're a sensitive person?
absolutely, man. I'm such an emotional bubba. It's crazy, but it's really good. I definitely used to wear my heart on my sleeve a bit more. I think as I got older, I actually put it away a little bit, and
Right.
I don't know. It's really interesting.
Protective.
Well, yeah, and I ask myself that a lot as well, because I think humans by nature are just, we're all just
Stay
sensory
safe.
beings, and safe beings. It's like we engage in the world through our senses. Skateboarding is a pretty funny one in that regard, because you're slamming, you're sliding yourself along sandpaper like concrete, and getting covered in grazes and rashes, and always I'm always complaining to my girlfriend about how sore I am and stuff. But there's this weird drive that you get from it, and I feel like it filters into other areas of life.
How do you handle criticism?
Criticism is a really interesting thing. And coming back to being super, super sensitive, I found that I don't know if I don't know. It honestly could have been going to art school, because you have to deal with so much criticism and so much critiques. And that's not necessarily negative criticism. It's just, maybe you could do this better. Maybe you could change this. And so you learn to engage with criticism and with feedback. And I recognize it now as only a positive criticism, and if someone is brave enough to be like, hey man, I don't like that, or I think you should do it like this, or that's wrong. Or, if you have someone correct you because they're like, oh, I want to help this person, that's a nice thing, right?
As long as you don't push Mongo.
Yeah, Switch Mongo is cool
Pretty
though.
much.
Switch Mongo is way cool.
Yeah.
Swongo.
But yeah, criticism is a funny thing. And I mean, there's, because say with my art, very kind of long explanation short, it's a process that engages in a lot of chance. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works really, really well. And I've had people, sometimes they, I try to generate a portrait, something recognizable with eyes, nose, mouth, and ears, facial features that the brain might try to pin down. But I've still had my work been called like a puddle, just a puddle of color and things like that, or just a decorative panel and whatnot. So, it's, and again, then that can come back to your question about, making institutionalized art. It's, you can follow a certain kind of criteria to get to a certain endpoint. It's the same with skating. If you try to, skate certain things and wear certain clothes or something, maybe you'll fit in with a certain crew or brand or something and be, taken on board and allowed, you're, being involved with a I guess you could what we would say professional skate crew, people who are filming, who have brands, they're in the eye of the public, and they're generating footage and all this visual information for people to absorb. And I think
it's cool, man.
Yeah, I think criticism is really helpful for all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Skating,
criticism or
art.
constructive feedback.
Yeah,
I think is crucial. That's how we progress, right?
Yeah.
And I think innately skaters always want to progress to a certain degree.
Well, that's the thing. You want to hear, you almost want that feedback. Like, there was toe drag, that trick wasn't good enough. Like, can we get one more? You know, can we try one more time if you're filming a trick? And so like now when I'm making art, I'm like, oh, it's good, but I know I can do better. I know I can do better. And exactly. But it's like this hunger for something else. And so I find,
but it's never going to be perfect.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's the best thing about you utilizing chance with art making is that you can separate yourself from the artwork. I can genuinely, because like, you know, there's like when I'm doing the stenciling, I'm you know, engaging with layers. When that final layer is done and I can peel off the stencil, like I don't know how the watercolor has moved underneath the paper. So say with my process to make an artwork, I'll do a drawing, I'll cut it out, and you can imagine I'd have 2 bits of paper to work with, and I can put that on a surface and then, you know, apply layers of watercolor or color that I choose. And but a lot of that watercolor kind of like is moving in a way where I can't see what's happening. So when the work is essentially finished, I don't see it until that completely finalized point, and that allows me to be extremely critical. You know, I can see on the dot if it is good or not. And so, you know, say with a skate trick, say, you know, if I spend 4 hours trying to film like, you know, a kicky back tail flip out or something, and even if I do get it, but it's kind of sloppy, you're stuck on the fence. You're like, it's a really hard trick, but like, am I happy with how it looked? Like, you know, you can be even
so many
more,
judging eyes.
It's insane, man. Skateboarding is the thing that I've been the most critical about and seem to be the most sensitive about with criticism. Whereas with art, maybe because, I don't know, maybe because it just comes from somewhere deep down that you don't really know about.
Do you think maybe because the peers that you skate with are closer to your age?
That potentially,
as opposed to the art world, it's a variety of different ages and people from different backgrounds.
Yes.
And maybe you identify less with those people and so you don't care as much.
That's actually a really, really good point, because there is, like, you know, say like when I was a grommy and, you know, I'd always be at the skate park, there would be, you know, the older boys, like, you know, the older Wollongong skaters, and I'd always look up to them. You know, it'd be like, oh my God, they're so amazing at skating. Like, you want to skate like them, you want to be their friend, you want to hang out with them. Like, I think it's just a natural thing. And so, yeah, I don't know. I find like when you get a little bit, I guess not even when you become engaged with like a kind of group of skateboarders, sometimes, you know, you can have these surprisingly wise and mature moments from everyone, and a really, really special, like, I don't know, say we're out as a crew skating, like how we engage with, say, the general public. Like if we're filming tricks in the street, it's an interesting way, you know, like people like it, some people don't like it. And so you learn to kind of roll it off your shoulders. And it's funny how that filtered into the art world as well. So, you know, like maybe because there is, like you said before, such a huge spectrum of ages and people from different backgrounds and whatnot, you don't tend to take it as seriously, where maybe I care more about the opinion of, you know, the skaters and my friends in the area. Maybe that could be...
Yeah, it's like a peer group mentality. Yeah. I don't think it actually goes away from high school. I think it extends throughout your whole life. I mean, I still feel like I want to fit in
100%,
various places, you know, like...
Yeah. And I think that's normal.
It's
and
funny.
It's human.
But I must admit, I mean, it's taken me nearly my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s, where I really just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
The older you get, the less you care.
Yeah.
But that must be
and Joey's
good
right
thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's actually one of the gifts of getting older. Like I enjoy it, you know, and I think that's another, now I think about it, that's another reason why I'm enjoying my skateboarding even more, because it feels way more pure.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, I'm not skating because I want to get sponsored or get coverage or
get in the Olympics.
Or the Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, we could train up.
Yeah, I'm not doing it for any of those reasons except pure. I mean, I call it therapy because, you know, it's like I'm focused. I'm only thinking about it, and you know, it's me and it's me in my mind trying to do this stuff. So maybe that's a gift of getting older with it, and that's why you shouldn't stop. You know.
Yeah.
I heard Marlon's a bodyboarder as well, though.
I do like to get aquatic at times. Hey, whether it be on the stick or the boog or just body surfing with some flippers on.
So what does the ocean do for you compared to, say, skateboarding?
Well, I mean, something amazing about bodyboarding is that it can be extremely good for like rehabilitation. Like when I roll my ankles, which occurs quite often, putting on a flipper and paddling, you're not putting pressure on the foot, but the flipper extends those ligaments and can really help with
strengthens all the muscles around.
Yeah, and just accelerating that
Don't
repair.
you have drowning stories too, though.
Being in the cold water, it's not drowning stories. But we were surfing headlands one time, and it was really, really big and really powerful. And the tide was right on high tide, and it was going low. And I had a bodyboard, but I didn't have a leash, so I was kind of just like freestyling, and it was really busy, and there was a pretty staunch crew out. I didn't know how to. It's funny, even though I've been surfing that way for like 15 years, I'm not very local. So
don't get me started. I mean, I've surfed for a long, long time now, and I'll be honest, like surf culture does my head in.
Well, that's why.
You know, that's compared to skate culture.
No leash is real tough, guy.
Yeah, but that's exactly right.
So you were.
It was pretty big. It was really powerful. There was a lot of water moving because of the changing tides. And anyway, because there were so many dudes out and like everyone, there was a lot of water moving around because of the tide. So everyone's getting pushed around in funny spots. And I was like, I've surfed this wave a long time. I'm going to go sit in the right spot. And so I kind of swam by people into this deepest section, and this really big wave came through, and everyone was looking at me like, are you going to go? And I was like, oh, I don't really want to go, but I kind of have to go now. And so I went to go it, and of course just totally bogged out on the bottom turn. And
did you commit though?
Oh yeah, of course.
That's all right.
Yeah.
If you pulled back.
I paddled with serious authority, I must say. Great. So I'll give myself props for that.
So you did commit.
And then, so I just dropped down, scorpioned, got dragged over, like my flippers got ripped off my feet, my board was gone, I was held down for ages, and I just got dragged all the way off the end of the shelf because all the water was moving so quickly along the reef. And then there's a boat ramp at headlands. And so as I was trying to swim in, there was just this huge rip that filled essentially the whole kind of
little bay.
Little bay. And so I remember I was just doing backstroke and keeping my eye on the headland to see where I was to try and swim in to the shore. And it felt like maybe like a minute had passed, and I looked to check where I was, and I was like, oh, I'm in the exact same spot. And so I had to just float and let the rip take me out. And then
no flippers is nasty.
Yeah. So because I was like, oh, I'm almost out of energy. Like I better chill and not panic. So I just let myself float in the rip out until it got, it started to mellow out a bit. And then I just swam behind this rock platform and got washed up the rocks and just sealed on. It was good. So it was a one wave detonation session.
Humbling.
Absolutely. The ocean is something that you just must respect at all times. Like
teaches you a lot of surrendering.
It's crazy, man. Yeah. And it's really interesting. And I think, but again, I feel so lucky to have these creative outlets, surfing and skating and bodyboarding and art making. And it's just really, I think it's just been such a huge positive for my mental health. And it's funny, as I get older and we talk about how our physical bodies become, a bit more delicate, I wonder if, one's mental health might as well. Like maybe as you get older, maybe I feel like I feel more, I feel like I know more. And it's really lucky having these creative outlets to kind of deal with those things when, any mental health stuff arises. I think it's really common, and I think it's really good to talk about as well. And that is a massive positive about the skate community, is that linked identity, and you just feel like you're a part of something immediately, and that's always going to be good for the soul.
Dude, it is. You feel it. It's so beautiful. That's what I love about skating. I just feel like with skating, if you're kind and you're nice and you're actually trying, skaters just pick up on it.
And you don't push Mongo.
Switch Mongo.
But you know what? Even if you push Mongo, if you're having a good time and you're being nice to people, I think most skaters will just be cheering you on and encouraging you and take you under their wing.
I try to be the hype man at the skate spot now. Like I get down to, the local DIYs, and it doesn't matter who's doing what. everyone's getting props because
It's
I
like
remember
when the DJ turns up on the dance floor when Marlon comes.
and then you hear Joey's sample. I don't want your cement, dog.
Guys, I'm like, I don't want your cement, dog, but guys, I'm like, I don't want your cement, dog.
Joey can't hear that, but yeah, it's true. It's true. But comparatively, like to surfing, it's just like me, and get out of the way.
I think we were talking about bringing skate culture energy to the surf. Like it's so like, you know, someone snakes me and I'm just like, get that shit, dog. Like, you got this. Like, get it. And they're like, whoa, I can be mean and then like nice. Right? Like it's what's happening.
Or another weird thing that happens in the surf is like someone gets a sick wave, right? Like, and then everyone will just like not look at them and pretend they didn't see it. And I'm like, no, fuck that. And I'll say to that random dude, like, dude, that was sick, rad wave. And they kind of look at me like, oh, you talking to me? Like, like, oh, and they put their head down like, oh, like, it's that weird tall poppy, like, I don't want to stand out too much, but I want to be respected. Like,
exactly.
Fucking, oh my
Different
God.
vibe to skating, hey.
But then the other end of the
100%,
spectrum,
Joey.
when you get a pumping session and it's just your homies, that is the best shit.
That's the best.
ever.
But
Like,
how rare is that?
We had this, me and my mates from Aussie, this is pre-COVID, so I guess like the end of 2019, we had this weird maybe 4-month period where we were surfing headlands almost every day. It was for whatever reason, like even when the swell usually works like on an east swell, and kind of stuff in between, but it was working on really bizarre swells we didn't expect, and we just started checking it almost every day, and we were just getting so many sessions in, and yeah, it's really funny, like how, like, you know, trying to choose something to do, like it's really, you know, like saying I just want to push my bodyboarding and focus on that, or I just want to push my skating, or just want to focus on my art. Like it's been really interesting trying to, you know, spread myself out across a few disciplines that I really, really enjoy. But it's similar with Joey, right?
Well, interesting. Joey and I talk about it all the time, about like, you know, the gift of having not just a passion, we have passions. Like there's numerous things we're passionate about, and it's such a gift, you know.
The older you get, you kind of try a few different things. Like you'll try fixed gear riding a bike, or when I was younger and skateboarding, you would just skateboard, and that's all you would do. You really like focused on one thing. But as you get older, you'll try different things, which is good, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. And I mean, but yeah, and even then that coming back into skating as well, like trying, you know, having like say coming back to being that whole like hype man at the skate spot. I remember when I was young and I'd just be so intimidated to skate in front of these older boys. And, you know, like I remember as I started to get a bit better, you know, people would be like, oh, that was sick, man. Like good job. And, you know, you get this little, you know, something nice inside of you. You're like, oh, great. Like I appreciate that someone noticed something that I did. And so, you know, like I guess recognizing that, I just try to feed that energy as much as I can, whether it's in the surf, at the skate spot, like, you know, like.
Don't change that.
Yeah, it's super special, right? There's not, like, I don't see, I wish I saw more of it.
Yeah.
I do see a bit, but.
Front nose slide tornado spin. I saw that. I recognized that.
So sick.
That was wild, man.
That was all luck, baby.
It wasn't luck,
All luck,
dude.
man. All luck and some serious,
So good.
serious time at Mavs. I mean, that's been an amazing thing about lockdown is how much skating and art making I've been doing, you know, like
It's a gift.
But I'm so lucky to have those things, and
Exactly.
I wish I could share. I know. I mean, the amazing thing about the Olympics, you know, I was talking to my mum about it, is how many, you know, more people who never engage with skateboarding are now engaging with it. But like, I mean, I am always so taken back by the identity of skateboarding, like the collective identity of skateboarding. You know, it doesn't matter if you're from Nepal or Africa or Sweden or, you know, wherever it may be. Like if you see someone on the other side of the world with a skateboard, you're like, oh, they skate. They're probably cool. Like I can talk to that person. And
So many girls are skating now too.
And my
Love
girlfriend
that.
has been shredding, man. It's actually ridiculous. Hey, I'm honestly concerned she'll be going to Paris in 4 years' time. So, but I think because of maybe this, like, you know, now skateboarding has this Olympic nature. Maybe it's just more kind of like
Accepted.
and just by the general public anyway. Like, and I think that it's a really positive thing because how many great things that have come for me from skating is, and it's so funny because some of the best times of my life are just like sitting in a kind of derelict car park, drinking beers with my mates, like getting all scabby at the skate spot. But it's a really beautiful thing. But I mean, like, again, being like having a hobby that is physical, that is physically good for my mind and my body, like that is such a lucky thing.
Like for sure, like during lockdown, I mean, same thing. It's like I've been skating more than ever because it's like I can't do anything else. Like,
oh man, I feel a bit anxious and batty at home sometimes.
But
like,
you're right though. You raise a good point. Like, what about people who don't have something like that?
They get that cabin fever.
that's it, man.
Yeah, and I worry. Like, it's a worry, man. Like, we're in really challenging times mentally, mental health wise. Like, I mean, it's obvious, and people know it, and the stats are there in terms of. I mean, I read a stat about Lifeline. You know, their calls have quadrupled. You know, and that's people that call that number are desperate and on the brink. And it's really upsetting.
It's totally upsetting. And to think, you know, having a friend or a loved one in that kind of position, like, you know, there's been my family's dealt with quite a bit of mental health stuff, and it's been really, really interesting to engage with. Like, my dad used to be a cameraman for SBS.
No way.
And he was down in Melbourne filming these riots. I believe they're over university fees or something, where the cops were like, the Victorian police were taking their badges off and just beating people. And because Dad was a cameraman.
Was that when 8 years ago?
This was when
80s or 90s.
This must have been 1998 because I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And like the cops beat up Dad real bad, put him in hospital and shit.
No way.
Victorian police force like sent us a letter.
They've got a rep, eh?
Bro, they are naughty boys.
Well, I remember
goodness.
I don't know if it's the same, but they used to be really
boys and
trigger.
girls.
They were known to be really trigger happy.
Bro, they beat Dad real bad. They put him in hospital, but his camera was still recording, so you can see the faces of these cops.
No.
You can see what they're doing to Dad. But the Victorian police force, pretty sure Mum and Dad still have it, sent like a letter being like, you know, essentially we'll destroy you financially if you pursue this case, like really threatening. Bro, me and Meg watched this very quickly. Me and Meg watched this documentary last night called Dinosaur 13, and it was about these archaeologists that discovered this incredible fossilized body of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Anyway, long story short, the feds come, just take it because it's in some sort of, you know, like legal limbo. Anyway, it's pretty crazy to you know, seeing how people are affected by those kinds of things. But coming back to Dad and the police, it's a really interesting thing. Like I totally support the Australian police force and New South Wales police force. Like it's a tricky
New South
thing.
Wales.
I think it's important to have police and to have order and but it's scary when you know they do that kind of stuff. And so, you know, like I want to be angry, but I just don't see any point in being angry. But I guess what I was getting to is that caused, you know, Dad a bit of mental unrest, and it seemed to affect him for a really long time.
Sounds traumatic, dude.
But yeah, he's dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, doing a lot of, you know, going to a lot of counselling and whatnot. And he turned to art making. We went to Japan just as COVID started in February 2020, and now he's just been producing so much art, and he's just been
in his older years.
Yeah. So I think Dad's 56 now, a young spring chicken, and he's just been killing it so hard in the studio, making so much work.
Does he copy your style?
What's that?
Does he copy your style?
He does a little bit. No, he doesn't at all. He's got a totally original style. And that's a really great thing. I was so excited for Dad that he immediately started engaging with his way of making art. He wasn't trying to emulate other people, which is totally fine. I did that for such a long time. You know, he found something and really latched onto it. But I was just, you know, and then again, coming back, we're talking about with skating, like, you know, you hit the ground and you just get back up again. My parents, they've been around the block. Like, it's crazy. Mum and Dad have been around the block. And I think that has taught me to be resilient and, you know, just to keep on going, even when you're facing like some of the craziest adversities. Like, you know, like,
And the reality is life's going to keep dishing some stuff out.
That's it. And
you don't know when or where.
And having these things like skating and surfing and art making, I think has really kept me on a very good path. You know, I think I've been really lucky in that regard.
You seem very fulfilled as a human.
I feel, man.
I don't know you that well.
It's crazy. But it's so funny as well because like I feel so young, but in some ways really old at the same time. Like
I see that.
It's a really interesting dynamic to deal with, but it's great because it allows me to function with such a wide range of people, and that's given me so much knowledge and insights. And particularly, say, going to art school, there was people who have retired, and then people fresh out of high school like me, and then everything in between. So you're engaging with this huge spectrum of one of my best friends that I made at art school. Her name was Katie. She was a police officer for 10 years, and
then turned to art.
Yeah. And she's an incredible artist. But it's really interesting. Like people's where I met like doctors and physiotherapists, and I don't know, just a really range of random heads at art school, and all with these different kind of spiritual, political, these interesting backgrounds and ideas. And
art doesn't discriminate, right?
Well, that's right. And it's the same with skating as well. Like,
you're right.
These things are
skating
so
doesn't
inclusive.
it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
And it's but that's a really
Makes
funny
it
thing.
colourful.
But that's it, man. And I mean, like I say, I think there's a lot of contemporary issues that kind of surround similar kind of things and whatnot. And so I think it's really, I'm just so impressed with skateboarding to be so far ahead socially in that regard.
It is.
Like it's one of the most multicultural, dynamic.
I think it's multicultural, but I do think it's very, gender heavy on the male side.
That is absolutely,
Joey mentioned that there's more girls skating. That's great, but
it's definitely
there still needs to be more.
By a couple blokes. Yeah.
It is. That's the one side. It's very male dominated.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something skaters need to work on in terms of maybe being more inclusive to other genders,
and also being if you see like people at the skate spot you've never seen before, go say hi, like give them some props, like make people want to come back to the skate spot. Don't make people never want to skate again,
Yeah, no, that's really cool, man. And I just want to go back to one thing. Like you said, when I turn up to a skate park, I like to bring the vibe and say, some people can perceive that as being naive, or
that's exactly right.
or maybe just like it may be a bit of a kook, but don't ever think that. I think it's making yourself vulnerable like that is actually a power move.
It's
because it takes courage to be vulnerable.
It's scary.
Because I don't want to sometimes just say hello to some random I don't know because they might judge me or they might reject me.
Yeah, just dish your side.
I think what you do when you do that at skate spots is a strong move, dude.
It's good.
Thanks,
it opens people up.
Thanks. Yeah, but I swear it's definitely a bit of a ripple effect with that kind of energy. Hey, like if someone gives me a good vibe, I'm like sick, and then I'll be in the car and someone will cut me off. I'm like, oh man, what's that all about? Like,
dude, that's where I think you and I are real similar. Like, I just feed off people's vibes so much. I mean,
I can't help it.
That's how I choose my guests for the podcast.
I heard Marlon drives in speed dealers as well. Like he actually does.
Man, I had some. So my mum gave me these Bolay. They were like $400, like crazy lens filter polarized sunnies. But I went fishing. I hope mum doesn't listen to this, and I lost them. And then I had another pair of like proper chopper speed dealers. But my girlfriend.
So for those that don't know, just for those that don't know, because
this would be a good thing to articulate.
It's like it's Australian slang for a type of
sunglasses. Yes, that's correct.
He's going fast when he's driving.
That's synonymous with local drug dealers that sell a very dirty drug.
That is correct. But they are very particular.
Which you don't do.
No, of course not. Of course not.
But you do replicate the steez.
Yeah, the raw power, some could say.
Hey, bit of a serious question. Who is your favourite skater / artist combo?
Oh, that's such a
because
good
I've got my
question,
personal favourite.
Yeah.
But who's yours?
Ed Templeton.
I knew you were going to say that.
Brian Lottie.
Brian Lottie.
Man,
fucking
his
Brian
paintings
Lottie.
are fucking incredible, bro.
Yeah, right.
And just being such an OG skater. Like you can go on his Instagram and have a little look. Brian Lottie. He does some really, really beautiful figurative work, and just kind of what's the word? Genre paintings, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, who else? I know there's.
Is Stefan Janoski good at art?
Yes, so he does a lot of sculptural works and like ceramics and like bronze castings and whatnot. Janoski's work is really, really interesting, actually. I think there's Bam Margera, dude. Bam Margera
like his
art.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen some of it.
Yeah, I think I like that Bam makes art. That's what I like.
Well, he's got the time and money.
Yeah, that's right. But it's just really funny.
Chad
like,
Musker.
Yes, dude,
Yeah,
Chad
I
Musker.
do like Musker's
I know
stuff.
there's one other guy that I'm forgetting, but yeah, I think
Jordan Marsh.
Yes, dude. Yeah, Jordan Marsh,
Yes.
Tattoo Lord,
Yes, Jordan.
Ben Laxton as well.
I didn't know Ben. I didn't know Ben Laxton made art.
I'm going to start
I
doing
think he
art
does,
soon as well.
I think he does drawings. Yeah.
Joey, you
Joey's.
are an artist. He's an iPhoneographer. He takes like epic, like really
I totally agree.
interesting perspective.
Yeah, very atmospheric.
iPhone shot.
I'll do an art show
Atmospheric.
soon
Yeah.
after COVID.
Yeah, keen.
Yeah.
Keen.
We'll call it.
Joey's got so many free cases,
Yeah.
so get down for that when it can
Joey's
happen.
going to call it life in the time of COVID. But no, for me, you're going to ask me who my favourite is?
Who is your favourite artist?
Thanks for
skateboarder?
asking, finally. Joey, these are the questions you could be asking me. You don't,
Who's your favourite artist, dog?
dude, thanks for asking, everyone. No, Mark Gonzalez. Like, I mean, it's just it's just an easy one. Like, for
He
me.
could draw a straight line and it'd be worth $1,000.
Oh man, it's crazy.
So good.
Well, but okay, here's my question though. Like Joey just said, Mark Gonzalez could draw a straight line and everyone would love it. Why? Why do some people have that and others don't?
It's just like, I guess you can present yourself as a brand, so you can be a person, right? So say like the Supreme crew or like the hockey dudes or the FA crew, kind of thinking in the regards of skating. Some might say that they'd be quite like desirable, people want to like wear the Supreme clothes or skate the hockey decks. Like, I think that like you get hungry to emulate what is the now, and and like I do the same. I engage with trends and things like that. Like I think it's totally fine, but what it is, it's being like a brand. So people love Gons. Doesn't matter what he's going to do. They will consume it.
Whatever he does is good. Hey?
Exactly. So, but then say, even if someone is really, really good at something, but you dislike them, that will taint, what they do in a way. Sometimes, like it's a funny thing. So
It's interesting.
People might just. There's this, I don't know what movie it is. I can't remember the name. It's got Mel Gibson in it, and he's at this art show. I think he's looking at like a Jasper Johns work or something of an American flag, and Mel Gibson's like to the art dealer. He's like, "What is it?" It's just like paint and wood and canvas.
Yeah.
Shit, I could do it myself. He's like, "How much is it?" And the art dealer's like, $3 million, sir. And he's like, "I'll take it." So it's not even about what it is. It's about how much it is and what that represents to other people as well. So, and that is just one side of it that I that might be my inkling.
My friend who's an art teacher once said to me, because I looked at some art, I said, how do you describe art? And he said, it's like when you look at a piece of artwork and you say, "Oh, I could have done that myself." He goes, "But you didn't."
Yeah, that's it.
Right? That's what art is. Like
exactly.
You didn't. Okay, yeah, you could do it, but you didn't.
Yeah, and it's the same with skating. Like like someone doing like a late front foot impossible, like out of a kicker or something, like some quite unique trick. Someone would be like, "Oh, it doesn't look very good." It's just like, yeah, it's cool, man. Like,
Are you a kickflip guy or a heel flip guy?
I am a backside flip or backside heel flip guy. I can't actually do straight flip tricks.
So you're more heel flip?
Yeah. Actually, I'd say more heel flip. Yeah.
You kind of skate like Uyghur Van Wangeningen.
Dude, how good is that guy?
So crazy, man.
In the I don't know how to say his name properly. I reckon you got the closest. I'm not going to try and repeat it. He's a dude. I don't know. I think he's European. A dude skates for Nike.
Oh, okay.
What else does he skate for?
Good, like half cab heels, back heels, all the heel flip moves.
I think his last trick in I think it's the Nike SB Chronicles. It's like down this mellow kind of circle, this long mellow circle handrail. I think he does fakie heel flip, like switch 5-0.
I know the one. It's
yeah,
gnarly.
it's so ridiculous. Like
He skates for Enjoy, I think.
yes, that's
I could
exactly
be wrong,
it.
but-
Yeah, no, enjoy.
Okay.
You should skate for Enjoy as well, probably.
Who?
You.
Oh man,
You fit into that team.
I'll take
Joey,
that for sure.
give him a call.
It's art and skateboarding all together. Like, it's good.
Yeah, man.
Which, I mean, for me, I think that's what skateboarding should be. Like, going back to the Olympics, I mean, it was a really significant moment when the Olympics came on the TV that day, because as a kid, 12 years old, we used to joke and say, "Oh, imagine skateboarding was in the Olympics."
Literally.
And then I just had this really surreal moment when it just the first heat was on TV, I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
And I didn't even give a shit about it leading up to it. I was like, I didn't give a shit about the Olympics. But as soon as it started, I sort of had these weird goosebumps, and I'm like, oh my God. After all these years of getting kicked out of spots by security guards, getting picked on by jocks at school,
that is the
getting
one, hey.
called a tool,
We made it.
getting screamed at by people in cars to do a kickflip when I'm cruising along. The time I was picking my nose and hit a rock in the footpath, and all these girls laughed at me because I was
snotty
picking my
chalky,
nose
bro.
and fell over.
Man, that's
All of a
that's classic.
sudden,
It's worth
redeemed.
It's
Wait, will art be in the Olympics?
I hope so, man. there's
Imagine
there's
you
like
got
performance.
15 minutes to throw something down.
oh,
then go.
seriously, there's like live art kind of
That's
things.
weird.
Like,
I don't
and
like that.
It is weird, right? And like a lot of people say like you can't rush art. You can, but it doesn't mean it'll be good. I think like something I like about artwork is it's something there that you can return to, and you can you do a little bit on it. You go and cook dinner, you have a beer, you fall asleep on the couch, and you have another go the next day. Like
I don't know, man. Like,
Have you ever done the
competitive
where you
art,
drink
it's a
red
fun
wine
thing.
and you sit with heaps of
Dude,
people
paint and
paint?
sip. I did, bro. It's honestly
feel
that
like you'd
much
kill
fun,
that.
man. And like the thing that gets me about the art world is that a lot of people confront these staunchly intellectual walls when it doesn't have to be like that. There are people who engage with an extremely densely theoretical and philosophical way of making or looking at art, or the ideas about art, how we consume art, and that's all well and good, but there's something really nice about just
Getting drunk and doing art.
man, that's what it's all about. It's supposed to be fun, right? It's the same with skating
I
and
reckon
surfing.
that's a vibe.
Like I remember I was on the boog and like some old dude on a mal dropped in on me, and like usually I'd just like dive off, but I was like, I'm gonna just keep riding, and he ended up taking the high line, and I'd drop down the bottom, and then he'd do a little turn, and then I'd take a high line,
Like dolphins riding together on a
bro.
wave.
Exactly. And so at first, even though I was off it, I was like, oh well, like fucking might as well just have a laugh, like what? It's supposed to be fun, right?
You should have jumped up on his longboard with him.
it's supposed to be fun.
I don't know if you would have got coat hanged or what.
I reckon he would have beat me up pretty bad. But yeah, it's a funny thing, and I think that that's what I really like about those kind of paint and sip things, is because they are fun. Like that, I used to work at an art store up in the city, and like more than half the customers are people just wanting to get into it, and particularly when lockdown came, it was so busy up there, and people would be like, oh, what do we do? Like, oh, I don't want to buy really expensive stuff and like make a mistake. And it's like, get the cheap stuff, get an expensive bottle of wine, and then just go ham.
Like, can
Just
you do a
have fun.
paint and chill class? I'd come.
Yeah, man, 100%. Paint and
Man.
chill, man.
Do it.
We're only
Charge
using-
people to come and hang out.
Well, there is art therapy classes you can do,
Man,
but I don't know,
yeah.
not in the life of COVID.
No, not in the. But at the same time, the actual therapy, I think you would find even just from getting a graphite pencil and trying to do a drawing of your backyard or something like that.
But is the therapy from communing with other humans?
That is definitely an aspect of it, but I find I get a lot of pleasure from creating something that I feel very good about. So say I do a drawing and I'm like, oh, that's a really good drawing. Like I get really happy about it. I think, I think it's a good thing. Like I did this portrait of myself with these, there's this cartoon I really like called Naruto. And it's just it's a fictional. My girlfriend really doesn't like it. It's a fictional cartoon about some ninjas. And there's this one ninja called the Sage of the Six Paths, and he has these eyes called the Renegon. Anyway, I did a self-portrait with the Renegon eyes, and I was like, this is the best drawing ever, but it's kind of silly in a way. But again, that just comes back to the whole thing of like, have fun, man.
Do you
Like,
ever get frustrated doing art? Like, have you ever fly kicked out one of your artworks?
Bro, I have fully like Cyclone Tracy kicked some canvases
Cyclone
before,
Tracy.
and even got a bit like pop on some canvases, a little Stanley knife. Like,
How do you even remember Cyclone Tracy? That's 1977.
it's just just
Oh,
Tracy.
but if you get
Tracy's
real
a
mad at it,
fantastic
do you
name.
ever go over it again, or do you just start from scratch?
Yeah, so when you're filming a trick and you get the trick and it's all right, but it's not that good, and you're just like, fuck
Yeah.
it, I'm gonna just do it again because I
Yeah.
know I can do it. I know I can do it better.
Yeah.
And even just semi getting it good was enough energy to keep you going.
That's good.
Yeah, it's the same thing with art making. And like I was saying before with my particular process, the way I make art, I try to employ as much chance as possible, and that really allows me to feel very purely about it. I can just be like, it's sick or it sucks.
I'd
And if
really
it
like
sucks,
to see you fly
start
kick
again.
some art though as well.
Oh, it's pretty funny. Sometimes you get G'd up, bro. And like, sometimes I do it on wooden panels, and I'll
you focus it.
yeah, man. Yeah, well, yeah, you have to learn how to channel that energy. It's
No,
the same
no,
with
focus
skating.
it like you focus a board, like snap.
That's
it.
exactly right, bro.
Put your foot through it.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Man, I literally tried to like punch a wooden board once, and I just got hurt. I'm quite fragile, so it's a funny thing. But
Dude. Yeah, don't. Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's a good thing.
yeah. Going back to the whole competitive art thing, I don't know. It's like
It's
a
a tricky
competitive
one,
yoga.
bro.
I've heard of there's yoga competitions and shit. I'm like, come on, man.
It's hard, yeah. It's because like, but I'm sure there's people who get up and train for that competitive yoga, right? Like,
and is it a human?
Yoga
is
is
it-
stressful. Don't worry.
it is,
Joey
bro.
hates yoga. He's got it. I mean, I hate to break it to him, but I mean that's the direction his life's going.
Must be doing it wrong.
If he wants to
the stretch zone.
keep the longevity going, but
That's it.
we'll talk about it later, Joey. You got issues.
Don't stress, Joey.
Yeah, no, but I think it's human nature too to be competitive in various ways. I just don't like how do we have to make everything a sport?
Well, yeah,
God's sake.
yeah, that's it. And it's even funny
God's sake.
with skateboarding. It's like someone might tray flip 15 stairs,
Yeah.
and then someone might do some really stylish, fun little trick, and even though one trick is may seem more difficult or more critical than the other, a lot of people are still going to like the easier trick.
True.
And it's a funny thing, like just because you're trying super hard doesn't mean people will engage with it as well. Like, or be like,
I mean, Nigel resonates with me. I look, Nigel's amazing. I love
in
looking
work,
like it's
bro.
like I look at him and go,
I
wow, it's
respect
amazing.
Nigel heaps.
But like me personally, it just doesn't resonate with me.
Having fun
yeah.
is what makes it look
Yeah.
cool.
Exactly.
And at the Olympics, for example, was it Mickey Papa?
Yeah.
He was in the Olympics for Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't doing like
He was just
what
getting a
Nigel was doing. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I just preferred to watch him all day.
It's funny and say like I don't know how to say his name properly. Aurelian Girard.
Yeah.
Like he was doing like
amazing.
fucking like tray flip 50s down the hubber and stuff, and and then he put this post, like he wasn't very happy with how he competed, and he put this post on Instagram. I couldn't read it because it was in French, but I could get the inkling
He
that it was
killed it, hey.
essentially like an apology that he didn't achieve what he set out to, but. I think, like Joey said, he killed it so hard, and so did so many other people. And same, like Kieran Woolley.
Oh, I mean,
like
I'm
the local-
not usually like nationalistic, but I must admit when Kieran came on, I just had this real sense of Aussie pride and Wollongong pride. I'm like,
forever.
yeah.
No, it was such a cool thing, and to watch him bowl over the cameraman was just the cherry on top.
And that
I
had
must
more
say.
views than the winner of the event. Like it just
Exactly. Yeah.
he didn't win, but he won.
Superstar,
you
bro.
know?
That's it.
Santa Cruz must have just been rubbing their hands together, going, "Yes."
They do a board graphic for him with like him coat hangering and cameraman.
Dude, they better.
That'd be
He's
sick.
G'd up. He's muscly. Like
That'd be awesome. That's
In a muscle tee with a Southern Cross tattoo.
the Southern Cross tattoo would be essential. But that is the one that there is like the only thing that really gets me about competitive skating is like leaving the session bummed. That does happen sometimes when
Yeah,
you're skating,
it does.
but it's pretty rare. Like it's pretty funny to go and try and do something you love and leave
Yeah.
super bummed out.
True.
That is a funny concept to me.
One other thing I want to mention about the Olympics, you know what made me crack up? All the mainstream reporters, all the broadcasters were, when they were introducing skateboarding, I'm not talking about the commentators like Nick Basario, who was, I thought he was awesome. He was perfect commentator for it.
yeah, right.
He legit knew what he was talking about, has street cred. all
Also
that.
having a laugh. Like,
But then just the mainstream reporters, all they kept sticking to when Shane O'Neill was skating, they just kept going, did you know Shane O'Neill's got more Instagram followers than any other Australian athlete? And it's true. He's got more Instagram followers. They kept going on about that. And I'm like, yeah, because skateboarding's fucking awesome and popular, you fuckwits.
it's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I reckon.
Swear jar.
I swear
Sorry,
jar.
Joey.
$2 coffees later.
Joey can pay.
I swear, like, I think it was maybe, I swear I noticed an extreme acceleration in skating maybe around 2012. Like just generally what people were doing, how hard people were pushing skating, like the tricks that were going down. Like, I remember people skating the Hollywood High 16 was like some of the gnarliest shit out there. And then, the Davis Gap came about, Chris Joslin popped up, Aurelian Gerard, and just these other who else? Mason Silva. I just saw the other day, I think it was David Rees, tray flip nose blunt clipper hubba.
Down clipper?
What the
Oh my God.
And it is a funny, it's like, how do you aspire to that though, right? Like,
just how do you mentally throw yourself down that, like do that, like
those levels of skating, it's literally the
David
almost
Rees,
the pinnacle
yeah?
of, I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
Yeah, and did you see the clip he put up the next day? He did a frontside nose blunt slide down a huge rail. I don't know how many stairs it was,
So
maybe
aggressive.
20 stairs,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the drop on the other side was like one story high.
Yes,
I'm
that's
like,
right.
Oh
That's
my
so critical.
God. Again, there's no other I'm not going to call it a sport, no other activity where it takes that much mental capacity and strength.
That's it. And I think
No, there is.
There'd be a couple. However, I think skating is just it's in a bit of a league of its own, and that doesn't mean like, it's just in this weird section. I mean, say like, I believe one of your previous guests, Sam Giles, he was talking about, just not overthinking shit. Like, just, just go for it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you got to get broke off. Sometimes you got to, roll away with some pretty serious rewards. So
It's courageous, man.
But he does Benny Hannas as well, so.
I don't know about those.
Doesn't he do them in his undies?
I've heard so, man. In the budgie smugglers.
Jared Reese is real good at Benny Hannas as well.
Jared Rees is phenomenal at Benny Hannas.
Oh, man.
No grab Benny Hannas.
Okay,
No shame.
what's more embarrassing? Pushing Mongo or doing a Benny Hanna?
Well, you could push Mongo up to doing a Benny Hanna.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Stop it.
Oh, I just sort of little spew burp.
Well, I love it. I love like illegal
Wait,
skateboarding
can you do one of
tricks.
those for me? You should do that for the internet.
Wait, what about a varial flip Benny Hanna?
Woof.
I love illegal skate tricks. Kevin Romar, varial flip down Carlsbad though. Never forget. Varial flip Carlsbad gap.
Who Benny Hana'd Carlsbad gap? I think it was Josh Casper, was it, Joey?
Yeah,
it was
that's right.
He Benny Hana'd Carlsbad, but he did it low, like it was like he fell off the gap. Like,
Bad move.
Rolled down the gap.
whatever happened to Josh Casper, Joey?
I don't know.
Do you remember Josh Casper?
I do. There's a few dudes. I was thinking
'Cause
about
he was kind of famous for a while there.
someone I was thinking about. I think an Adidas rider, Lem Villeman. Do you guys ever remember Lem Villeman?
He's amazing.
Dude, I've never seen any Lem footage.
He's good at hard flips.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird.
But Josh Casper was a poor man's Chad Musker.
That's exactly what That's exactly what he was. But God, it's skating, man. It's hard, dude. I don't know. Listen, I could talk all day, and this isn't a skateboarding podcast. I say it all the time, but man, it's nice to talk about skateboarding.
It's been good having you
Yeah,
on
it's
about
good, isn't
skating.
it? Yeah.
Get a bit rambly on the art, but I think we hit some nails on the head.
I don't think you can ever talk about art too much, and hopefully someone listens to this and it inspires them to, express themselves, express what's inside themselves creatively, whether it be in the form of painting, sculpture, skateboarding, drifting, whatever it is,
And I mean, if I was to have any kind of suggestions for say like art making and getting into art making, it's, just start, just get into it. Like just work.
Be careful what you say, man. You'll be at my art show next year.
I'm keen, man. Joey's going to be showing.
I'm going to take you down.
Joey's going to be showing at the White Cube, I believe. So.
I know Joey jokes, but I know there's an artist in there. There's something's going to happen big. He's going to be like the Wollongong.
It's going to be called the Ice Cube, and it's just going to be a cube of ice. And you got to watch it melt.
The ice block.
Dude, has anyone ever done that? That actually makes a lot of sense.
It could be cool.
Yeah.
I think Diamond did a ice block ledge skating advertisement.
They did, didn't they?
I think so, yeah.
Was that with Tori Pudwell?
I think it was pretty cool, yeah.
It's my favourite skater, Joey.
Don't talk about that guy.
How can you not like Tori Pudwell?
Dude.
Joey doesn't like him.
Tyler Bledsoe has been on the tat train the last couple years, I
He's
think.
good.
He's been killing it.
Wait, do you have
Shout
any
out to Tyler
tattoos?
Bledsoe. I have some stick and pokes that a friend did.
What's that mean?
A stick and poke is a kind of tattoo where you use like it's like a needle. It's a proper sanitized like needle, and you can buy them off eBay and things.
okay.
Essentially, you just dip it in and just pop the skin.
It's like the COVID jab, but you use ink.
Yeah, it's gentle. You just hear your skin popping. It's
COVID
kind of
jab.
gross.
I can't believe I didn't want to talk about the COVID jab on here.
Sorry, man.
It just made me think of something. I don't know if I want to talk about it. It's controversial. No, I'm going to say it. COVID jab.
COVID jab. Keen?
I'm just really fucking sick of people that question the COVID jab, I'm sick of other people just deeming them an anti-vaxxer and criticising them. You know why? Like, don't get me wrong, the vaccine's coming. We've all got to get it. It's going to happen. I'm not denouncing that in any way. But I thought I'm going to do some research. And I tell you what, you don't have to fucking scratch the surface too far
To see,
before you can actually understand why people would be skeptical. So I went onto the health.gov.au website to find out what's in the vaccines.
The Pfizer or the AstraZeneca? Or
Both.
Yeah.
Both. So I went with Pfizer because that's the good one.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe in any way there's some conspiracy that they're putting shit in it to control us. I don't believe that. I just believe
Valium.
maybe we need it. But what on there, they're like, yep, the vaccine has been tested by the Therapeutic Goods Association, which is the governing body that the government relies upon to make sure things are legit. It's an accreditation body. Click on the link to the Therapeutic Goods Administration website, and this is what they say about Pfizer. I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to fucking say it.
Was it? I think one of the...
Like, and this is from this is legit from just like the people that we are relying upon, and so it's like I just think we're allowed to be skeptical, and people are allowed, and it's like I'm so sick of people.
I think it's good
being
to be
at the
skeptical.
moment being told you're not allowed to ask questions. This is fucking bullshit. Because I thought I'm going to just ask the question, and this is literally what I got from our government. It says Pfizer is provisionally approved. Okay, for 2 years, it means it can now be legally supplied in Australia. The approval is subject to certain strict conditions, such as the requirement for Pfizer to continue providing information to the Therapeutic Goods Association on longer-term efficacy and safety from ongoing clinical trials and post-market assessment. Comirnaty, which is the actual name of the vaccine, has been shown to prevent COVID-19. However, it is not yet known whether it prevents transmission or asymptomatic disease. So it's like it's a provisional vaccine that was passed in 18 months. Again, I think if you take it, it's not going to harm you. You're not going to be controlled. They're not putting a microchip in you or any of that fucking shit.
But you're still a guinea pig.
But what I'm saying is it's like no wonder people are skeptical. It's like, well, is it going to work on me or should I hold out until they actually have worked out the vaccine so it's going to be legit? They're even admitting that they don't know if it works properly.
That's it. Yeah.
So,
it's a funny thing, right?
And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm vaccinated. My kids are vaccinated. I've had vaccines my whole life. And, yeah, I'll get the vaccine to be a responsible member of society.
Just become a Pfizer dealer.
Maybe I will.
You get rich.
There's
with good stuff,
there's my rant. I know. You know what? I danced around this topic on the podcast, but I'm feeling a little bit convicted. Not because I want to cause disharmony, but because I just think that I think we need some solidarity and we need to unite and not divide. And that's what's going on at the moment. You're a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, and if you don't get the vaccine, you're a bad person.
I'm on the fence
If you do
right
get
now.
the vaccine, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
scary
you know
to
what?
get it. It's
You're
scary
allowed to be
not
on the fence, Joey, and there's no judgment.
That's right.
I still love you. And I love people that get the vaccine, and I love people that want to question the vaccine. You know, like
that's
but this whole division is just that's the virus.
that man. It's
Sorry,
always-
You're going to start
just
a
lost my
wild debate,
shit.
man.
That's
You
good,
shouldn't have
man.
opened that
It's
can
good.
of worms.
It's
I don't care. Well, the
serious can of
debate's already
worms.
there, and it's history. It's history. And I might listen to this in 10 years' time and go, oh man, I sound like a complete fuckwit. But you know what? It's like I'm not scared to be opinionated sometimes, and I did it. That's just an experience I had with a bit of research I did from our
You
government.
got balls, man.
But it's good, man. It's good to look at
I don't
things
care.
for yourself. Like it's good
Yeah.
to see things with your own eyes because that will help you make decisions. Like be confident with yourself. Right?
Thank you, sir. Like do the research. That's all it is. It's like, and I did a whole bunch of other research. I went on a rant because I'm kind of like, everyone's got big opinions. I'm like, well, I don't want to have an opinion until I actually have something to back it up.
It'll probably make you feel more comfortable, even if you know less. You're like, oh, I've read about this. When people are like this and that, you're like, oh, well, I read this, so like, I don't know.
Yeah. But I do believe that, you know, it's a very scary and sad time for a lot of people, and there are people dying. I'm not, you know, like I'm very sympathetic, empathetic towards all that. It's terrible, and we do live in a bubble here in Australia. So
Absolutely.
Just start doing art, Shannon.
That's right. Have some burners. Though.
maybe I'm ready. Maybe it's taken me my whole life to find it.
I can see you as a head turning burner.
What head? What?
A head turning burner.
What's that mean?
Burner head turn. Everyone's turning their heads because you're burning so hard.
Damn.
You know? I've seen it.
Dude, I might do a
BHT.
That's good.
It's acronym and everything. You know what? Joey and I think we'll probably do a collab art exhibition together.
Sick.
Joey's photos and
You
I
guys
don't
could
know.
host
I
a
don't know what
paint
I'll
and
do.
sip.
I don't drink.
No, we'll just host
fair.
Marlon's art show and I'll drink all the wine. Thank you.
Shan,
But listen, man, it's been epic, and I ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause they want to support or advocate for. I haven't given you much warning on that, but is there any charity or any organisations that you believe in and you want to advocate for today?
Well, there's nothing directly off the top of my head. However, I think any sort of like any sort of project or establishment that has to do with mental health, looking at anxiety in males and females, like depression, stress, how it affects the body, and those kinds of things. I think it's really important. So
Yes.
I think that would be something to look at.
Thanks, and I'm going to back you up with that because I was going to say too. I'm going to put links to Lifeline and Beyond Blue and reachout.com in this episode's show notes. So if you scroll down, click on the link, go there for advice, maybe ways you can support, be involved, donate, whatever you need to do. But yeah, look, you're not alone. So there's people that want to talk to you and listen.
Just hit me up.
Yeah.
At Marlon Roche Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm always down to
Thanks,
talk.
Marlon.
Always,
So
always
if
keen on a yarn.
someone randomly reached out to you, would you give them the time of day?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Yes.
Because people have done it for me in the past. So
There you
it's
go.
a very special
And
thing.
myself included. If you reach out to me, DM me on Instagram or use the THT email address, I will write back and talk to you. And
Asking for help is
Don't
probably the
DM me
hardest
though.
part.
yeah, don't DM Joey because
Unless you've got cement for Joey.
Guys, I'm like, I don't want your cement, dog. But
He can't hear that. Thank God.
So don't be remixing my shit.
No, it's cool, mate.
Yeah. So you'll find links in this episode's show notes, and you can find this episode on terriblehappytalks.com with our new improved website. Just had it fully upgraded. And all the major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and TuneIn Radio as well. And whatever platform you prefer to listen on, please subscribe or leave a review. It just helps me to keep producing weekly episodes so I can speak to legends like Marlon Roche.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Marlon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Are you
And
going to hook him up some slides,
dude,
man?
I'm just about to say that.
Man.
Slides, bro.
I was just about to say, I've got a gift for you.
No way.
I've got two gifts for you, actually. The first one is you get a pair of flip-flops or slides from our friends at Indosol. So I'll have to get your shoe size.
It's a 9 or a 10, 9.5 would be great.
Okay.
But
Please
US?
choose slides.
Yeah, US.
Please
I
choose
actually need
slides.
some slides because I
Go thongs,
always
man.
steal my girlfriend's slides and she hates it.
Does he?
She's just so stylish though.
Dude.
I don't know what to do.
Dude, it's good. Do you wear Crocs?
I would love to. I really need some
Podcast
Crocs,
is
bro.
over. Podcast is over.
Yeah, don't do Crocs.
Some little croc, like,
Dude.
the little thingies you can attach to them.
Dude, I was just testing you then and you fully failed the test.
Hey,
Joey-
this podcast is cancelled.
Kick him off the team.
Crocs are good. However, Indosoles,
So you're getting a pair of Indosols.
they're different.
They're made from repurposed motor vehicle tyres and they give every guest a pair. So thanks for being on.
Hell yeah.
And I got
Thank
some
you,
stickers for
Indosoles.
you, THT stickers.
I would love some THT stickers.
Just stick them on your board.
Hell yeah.
You know what you should do? Get the THT stickers. Have you got Kingpin stickers on your board?
I think
Because
I
you're
have one at the
sponsored by
moment.
Kingpin?
Yeah.
Stick the THT stickers over any Kingpin logos.
I totally
so
do.
people
Dude, as
can't-
long as you're wearing socks
Totally
with those
agree.
slides, you're good. You can do what you want.
Got some good socks.
Last question. Should I ever let Joey co-host again?
It's a hard question, man. I
Man, you
really
can
don't
cancel me
know,
out
bro.
anytime.
Dude, I'm just kidding. I
There's
love
no
having
way
him.
you could let Joey go. That would be
I love him.
a dangerous
I love
mistake.
him. He,
Just put me on Wi-Fi and I'll just do my daily
You have to
chores
get a
and I'll
different
be on there.
cement sample.
I don't know. It's funny, when some things you just think are funny to you, but no one else.
the
That's
best.
what
That's
that
when it's the
sample is
best,
for
dude.
me. It's just funny. I don't want your cement, dog.
Well, we got 3 minutes left.
All right, so we've got to go, man. We've got to, get back to our daily lives.
It's been awesome,
All right, man.
Thanks for listening to me doing a bit of rambling,
Dude,
It was
anytime.
nice.
And thanks to Joey Lyons and your girlfriend Meg for hanging in. Good, yeah. All right, let's go. You. Woo.
Ciao.